Hi, I'm Bo, and I want to thank our Go sponsors, Mayo Clinic Health System and Ultra Federal Credit Union. Thank you for supporting Hmong farmers. Hi, I'm Bo.
Hey, what's up? I'm Luke.
And this is Cooking with Bo.
So I want to thank you first and foremost for the opportunity to come here today and be able to cook some food that's really, really special to me. And the reason that it's special to me is because kind of growing up in this area, I had been around the Hmong culture for most of my life, quite honestly, and hadn't really begun to understand it until kind of I first met you. You're a farmer's market vendor at the Verroca Farmer's Market, and I really, really became fascinated with the food that you were bringing to the stand. I would go in and I would talk to your mom, and I would buy like all the peanuts or all the ginger.
I remember, yeah. All the peanut, all the ginger, yep.
And I really started more of a deep dive on the Hmong culture and what that meant to me, because I feel like everything that I cook is about identity and identity building and trying to lift up people around me in the Midwest so that they have a platform to talk about what they love about this place so much, because we're all kind of in this mix together.
Right.
So today, I thought it would be really fun if I tried to do some pseudo-traditional dishes and kind of had you coach me through them. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
And if I mess this up, and if this is something that when your mom watches it and she's like...
critiquing everything I do. She does that anyways on a regular basis. So.
My mom too. But what I want to do is this rice, okay? This is sticky rice.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the importance of rice in Hmong culture?
So this is actually short grain sticky rice. It's very common. We eat it with almost every dish. We also use it as a dessert. But you can also get long grain sticky rice. But you can find this very commonly at any Hmong grocery store. They mostly carry the short grains. It's the Apple brand, so it's a little sweeter than other sticky rice.
Sure. The first thing that I always do when I work with sticky rice, or kind of rice in general, is I want to wash this because I want to wash some of that starch off.
Yeah,
cool.
It's very common to soak it overnight or at least 4 hours before you cook it.
And that's usually how I do it too. So what we're going to do today is a little bit of an abbreviated version. I want to take probably, let's say this dinner is going to feed 8. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Should we feed 8? I think we've got enough ingredients here.
There's about like 4 full cups there, and it should feed 8 people.
Okay, so let's take this. I'm going to transfer this into just a slightly larger bowl, and then let's give it a good wash.
Okay.
Cool. I'm going to get that water right in here on these rice kernels. I'm going to agitate this. So this milky liquid, we want to be able to pour that off, and you can do it really carefully because the rice actually won't follow. I always wash my rice, like I give it 4 good washes. And I feel like I get most of that starch off. I don't know why, but like it seems to be a significance in the number 4. Whenever I handle rice, I want to soak it for at least 4 hours. I want to make sure that I wash it 4 times. Is there anything to like that numerology from your standpoint?
No, I like that you like the number 4. I like it too. I think in some cultures it's a superstitious number for like bad luck.
Sure.
But
it's a bad luck number?
And I think in like the Chinese culture it is. So, they don't have like a 4th floor, or like they don't do things in 4s. But I do like the number 4.
All right, last wash. Get that last cold water on there. And we can see even now, like when we're washing it and we're agitating the rice kernels, that water that's coming off there is not so, I don't know, it's not so dark.
Not so mucky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll pour this rice, this washed rice, right in. Yeah.
Water's boiling.
Water's boiling. How long do you let your sticky rice cook?
Probably about like 30 minutes to 45, depending on how long they've been soaking. So if they've been soaking overnight, it should only take half an hour. If they haven't been soaking that long, then we kind of like add a little water halfway through at the top, just kind of like help the steam cook the rice a little more.
Sure.
And that might take like 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next. So this soup. When my wife Ruthie, we had our last child here in La Crosse, and we were at Gunderson Lutheran, and they gave us like, the royal treatment of, being in the room after the delivery. And on the menu, there were punctuated like Hmong cultural dishes. And this first one that I had, it kind of blew me away. It's basically chicken that we're gonna break apart here, and then we are going to boil. And we're gonna boil it with a combination of ginger and lemongrass and a couple other subtleties like chicken stock, and then throw in our spicy mustard greens at the end.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do is have this really, really robust chicken experience. The broth was so salty and so aromatic with the chicken, or with the ginger and the lemongrass, that I'll never forget how it tastes. And I think the first time I ever cooked something for you, it was a super miserable farmer's market day in Viroqua, and I brought this pot of like chicken, and like, you know, I think anybody who takes a risk and cooks food for someone who maybe is a little bit, you know, different. And I wanted to make sure that you knew how much I loved everything that you provided for me and the people of Viroqua, and your family could like at least eat this and warm up on a cool day. And, you know, your mom still talks to me, so I feel like it was probably okay. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
It was good. By the way, how much water are we boiling for that?
Let's start with 2 quarts. 2 quarts. So that takes us to what? 8 cups?
8 cups, yeah. And then how much chicken stock are we putting in it?
Let's put like one of those bad girls in.
Yeah. So this is a 32 ounce. So it's 1 quart of chicken broth. I said stock, but it's chicken broth.
Cool. And what's the difference between broth and stock?
You know what? I'm not sure. You're the chef. What is the difference?
Usually the difference between broth and stock is salt. So check the sodium content, right? So stock is usually unfortified with salt. And the reason that we like stocks is because as you reduce them down, they become more gelatinous. You end up with something that you can create and finish a sauce with, where a broth, that's been seasoned a little bit. So you really intensify that salt flavor as you cook it down.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this is a low sodium broth, so.
Oh, good.
That'll be good.
Good for my heart. Breaking down a chicken, it's not as hard as it seems. What we first want to do is we want to locate that ridge line right between the breasts. And I'm going to start with my knife back here. We want to think of it like playing a violin or a cello, using the entirety of the knife blade, because the entirety of the knife blade is sharp. So I'm going to very delicately run that knife right along that middle line. I'm going to open that up. And right here, the joint has been exposed. Secondarily, I'm gonna do the other side. So again, locate that middle segment, come down the breastbone, open up that lobe. So I have this thing now, I have the breast removed, I have the wings attached. I'm gonna take and actually quickly just dislocate that thigh joint and come right in here with the tip of my knife. Again, not using much pressure whatsoever. And what we have is a half a chicken, right?
Yeah.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Do we add in the broth right away with the water, or
no? Let's put it in. Let's put it in. Yeah. Let's let it rip for a little bit. So now I have my frame, because we're actually going to boil this for a little while, and we want this to be a really lovely, delicious stock that we're going to create. Basically, is the essence of this base. Let's take those oysters out. We'll save those for later. I think these are the best parts of the chicken, quite frankly.
They have a lot of flavor, yeah.
They do. The cook's treat. I'm gonna actually place this in the pot, because we're gonna bring all of this to a raging boil, and we want all this beautiful, good collagen that's located inside these joints and in this frame of the chicken to come out into the soup. Is that cool by you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, waste not, want not, right?
Yeah, we use every part of the chicken when we make a soup like this.
Yeah. Is it common to use the feet?
Yes, everything.
Yeah.
Even the head, you know, growing up, we would just always just use our own chicken out from that we grow.
Yeah.
And we just don't waste anything.
Sure.
So, yes, everything goes in the pot.
So from this point, I'm gonna take and basically bone out this wing into the pot with you. Do you mind if I make silly noises? Okay,
no,
good.
Go ahead.
Great. I'm gonna take this thigh and this leg, and I'm gonna come right in the middle of this joint, and boom, again, super easy. Right into the pot. Here's that gorgeous thigh. When this thing boils off, you get amazing shredding out of this texture. Awesome. Into the pot. Same side. Here we go. Opening up again.
And I think the good thing about this dish is the pieces are big.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it should be too. Each person, when they eat this dish, they take a big piece. So.
Yeah. I really get the feeling that in Hmong culture, food is medicine.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And walking through your mom's gardens, I know that as a keeper of the garden and as someone who tends that very carefully with her whole heart, That is medicine that she shares with the community. So the next time you're at the Cameron Park Farmers Market or anywhere you see Bo or any of these Hmong vendor stands, like seriously, go check them out and find what speaks to your soul, because there's so much good stuff there any season of the year. Even if it's a bouquet of flowers, they're grown with so much love and care, and it's medicine.
They actually do grow medicine, like medical, like herbs for like the chicken soup.
Sweet.
They do.
Lemongrass. Now, y'all grow this, correct?
Yes, we do grow it. It usually comes out in the late summer, early fall.
What I like to do with lemongrass, like this is not one of those ingredients that I get super fussy with and I bang it up. I tend to find like I don't necessarily want to eat this because it is really woody. It's herbaceous. You want this to infuse. And when I want something to infuse like this, the thing that I want is I want that essential oil. Right? I feel like I'm peddling like doTERRA or some like infuser. And for you, only $39.99, we can ship you this lemongrass and the essential oil diffuser. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna whack it. Is that how y'all do it too?
Well, yes, go ahead. Usually we take like the back of a knife and we pound it.
You pound it?
Yeah.
Let's try it that way. I'm here to learn, Bo.
There you go. Do you see how you crack it open?
Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
So for people at home who don't know what lemongrass smells like, fresh lemongrass, how do you describe it?
It smells, okay, it does have a lemony smell, and that's why it is called lemongrass. But it's got like this zing, like this, I can't describe it, like a herby, like...
Fruity Pebbles, every single time.
It is fruity. And okay, so then also the leaves, they're really long and they're really sharp and they can cut you. But what we do with the leaves is we cut them in the long strips, we wrap them up, and then we dry them, and you can use it throughout the entire year.
Awesome.
Dry. You can steep it, you can make tea out of it, you can put it in soups for stocks, whatever you want.
Yeah, I love that fragrance. I mean, automatically, it kind of takes me right where I want to be. And again, like we are creating comfort here. This is like medicine food. And this for me is part of that experience. Yeah, I'm gonna put this right in the pot. So Hmong food is one of these food traditions that I think a lot of people in the Midwest kind of take for granted. There is a fairly high profile chef up in Minneapolis, Yia, who's kind of bringing to the forefront this cuisine because there's such a dense population of Hmong people here in the Midwest. To hear Yia talk about his experience with Hmong food and why he cooks because it symbolizes the sacrifice that his grandparents paid, his aunts and uncles paid for him to be here, to be free, to be able to cook and represent the Hmong culture. How does that feel like? How does that grab you?
I think what he's doing is really powerful and really empowering for me as a Hmong person. Representation matters. I think when I see Hmong actors or Hmong doctors or more Hmong scientists and people who are like representing the culture but also living in the modern day society, I feel like that I can see myself in them, and I can see where we came from and where we are now and how far we've come. And I feel like that's a very powerful thing for my culture.
Yeah, it's an incredible story, and I think that it's incredibly sad. Let me use that as a caveat. It's an incredibly sad story. I mean, talk about getting the raw end of a deal. But I do adore. I think our generation is the generation that has the power to maybe heal and to grow new paths forward. And, it's conversations like this where you and I can be in the same kitchen space together and we can create, as authentic as like a white kid from southwestern Wisconsin can, Hmong food to further the dialogue of how beautiful this cuisine is, but also to shed a light on how beautiful the culture is.
Yeah.
And how it's all around you. Quite honestly, every single small community in Wisconsin has pockets of cultural warriors who are telling stories with their whole hearts. And that is part of our identity and fabric. What better agent for storytelling is there than cuisine?
Yeah.
Anyway, off my pulpit. Ginger, all right? I don't peel ginger. Do you peel ginger?
I don't peel it either.
Yeah. Yeah, no thank you. So I'm gonna cut off that knobby end and basically I'm gonna find myself a flat surface here. Long knife blade, sharp knife. I'm gonna use this like the entire cello.
So are you using your fingernails to anchor it down?
I'm using my fingernails, my fingertips more.
Fingertips.
Yep.
Got it.
And what I'm looking for in this ginger I don't know if y'all can see this at home. I can see the light through this bag, girl. Look at
yeah,
that.
it's pretty thin.
Right?
Yeah.
Thin to win. That's kind of how I feel about this. Most people know that there's a lot of medicinal qualities located in ginger. These rhizomes are just packed full of good energy.
I've heard that if you just eat raw ginger when you have a migraine or a headache, it helps.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a migraine right now?
No, but I'm sure I will. I get tired of listening to my own voice, so maybe this is preventive medicine. And with this soup, I really want this, and maybe this is like my understanding or cultural interpretation, but I want this thing to be punchy. Like, I want to taste that ginger. And ginger is like one of those ingredients that are warming naturally.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we didn't add this. Should we add this?
Yeah, let's add it.
Okay.
So we're just looking for a good sized nodule of ginger. And honestly, this is one of those ingredients at home that you can tailor, but as you're cooking, feel it in your heart. If it feels like it needs more ginger, add more ginger. If you love ginger, add more ginger.
Or if you want to be really precise, you can measure it in a cup. That looks like what, like one
robust cup of ginger.
Oh, like it's like over.
Yeah. One overflowing cup of ginger.
I'm losing all my words today. I'm just gonna do signs. I'm gonna act it out.
I'm gonna add this, and we can see this already. Mm-hmm. Like some of that protein is already starting to float to the top, which means that it's coming up in temperature and it's releasing. And what we really want is we want a lot of that collagen. Because specifically in a situation where we are replacing body nutrients, minerals, things of that nature, that collagen is so important. We need that. Boom. So next, we have these Hmong style sausages. Mm-hmm. And Wisconsin's a culture that obviously I would say and it kills me every time that I say that I'm from Wisconsin. People are like, oh, you got the bratwurst, you got the cheese, you got the Packers. But if you look just a little bit between the lines, we are talking about Hmong style sausages. Now, these are produced in Mosinee. You know where Mosinee is?
No idea.
Okay, cool. So let's say this is Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. We have right here Door County. We have right up here, let's say this is LA Cross. Right here, smack dab in the middle of the state on the Wisconsin River, just south of Wausau and Stevens Point is Mosinee. So this is as central Wisconsin as it gets. These are Hmong style sausages. And what, pray tell, makes a sausage Hmong style?
I think it's the seasoning, because then we'll have there's like a pork belly fat that's in there. We have spices, we have ginger in there. There's green onions in most of them. Some people will choose it. When you see it on there, you can tell it's green onions. Yeah. But that's all the spices in there is what makes it a Hmong sausage.
So we've got an oven right behind us that's been preset to 350 degrees. And what we're going to do is we're going to line this sheet pan with foil so that we have one of those easy peasy lemon squeezy pickups and pop that in. Talk to me about the importance of the hot sauce.
It's very simple and basic, actually.
Cool.
The most basic ingredients you'll need is Thai chili, something to make it sour, so lemon or lime, and we need fish sauce and salt.
We just put it in the bottom? Is that how you start?
Let's start with the peppers.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So even if it's green, it's gonna be spicy. But if you put herbs in it, probably don't confuse the people, and we'll just use this.
We'll use the red ones, red chilies? Okay, cool.
Yes.
I mean, since we're feeding 8, let's stick with our 4.
Okay.
Can we do 4?
Yes, go ahead.
Great.
4.
Now, are you going to talk me through, what's the best way to approach?
Normally, I'll just slice it as thin as possible.
Okay, thin to win. I like that. So what we're going to do on this board is I'm going to use my cat's paw again. I'm going to come in, and again, super, super thin.
Actually, I'm going to check on the rice.
You're going to check the rice?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to pour a little bit of water over and let it help it steam.
You go, girl. This is how we do it. Cooking with Bo. All right, at this juncture, I'm actually going to go a little off script here. I have these sliced chilies, and what I want to do is I want to add just a little bit of salt to them. Why, one might ask? Well, salt actually pulls moisture out of most things, and I actually want these to be as close to a paste as I can get them. So I'm going to salt them on my board. I'm going to take the side of my knife, and I'm going to come across, and we're going to give them a quick chop. And again, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to macerate these chilies. Man, these Thai chilies are really putting off that essential oil. And I want to make sure that I capture that in this hot sauce. The other thing that salt does in this mixture of chilies is it creates a little bit of grit. So as I use the side of my knife to kind of push this, you can see that I'm creating a paste. And that's gonna allow for all those delicious chili essences to be extracted into our hot sauce. So I've got my chilies all busted up. Does that look okay to you? Sweet. Into the bowl.
So then we would do salt.
A little bit of salt. When I say a little bit of salt, like I'm a fan of salt. So when I think salt, like I'm talking right here, that's a pretty healthy teaspoon. Yeah? Does that look good to you? Cool. Awesome. Into the bowl.
And then lemon or lime.
Lemon or lime, do you just squeeze it? Great.
I just squeeze it. I never measure.
Yeah, so we've got that acid, we've got that heat, we've got that salt.
And then a little fish sauce.
Little fish sauce.
To however much you want, like a little bit or a lot.
I think fish sauce for me brings in this quality. It's like the fifth sense. Umami.
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 Where is that from?
Well, it's a Japanese.
Oh, okay.
It's a Japanese word, but umami is the ability to like perceive earthiness and depth and richness. So like folks who love mushrooms, they have a very developed sense of umami on their palate. Fish sauce for me creates depth. It creates layers. It's so rich. It's this fermented, basically stock. And what it brings to this conversation is this real depth that really accentuates all these flavors, specifically the herbaceous ones, and everything else we got going on. What next?
You can do herbs. So you can do green onion, cilantro, or just cilantro. So here we have cilantro, and you just want a little bit of it in there so it doesn't overpower this dish right here. We'll use this portion because it doesn't get used very often.
Yeah.
I feel like some people shy away from this, but it's still cilantro.
Right?
Yes. So
They're freaked out because it doesn't look exactly like what
they're
you
like,
find.
oh, it's a dill hybrid. No, it's just cilantro.
A lot of my friends in the farming community don't actually love growing tremendous amounts of cilantro because by the time you pick it, you wash it, you get it to market, it's almost lost its peak intensity.
So that's a great trademark of the farmer's market is that they would harvest the produce that morning and then it goes straight to the market.
Yeah, there's really no substitution for it, is there?
Farm to table right there.
There it is. Boom. All right, let's see what we taste.
I think it's a good balance.
It's a good balance. It's salty. I would say if it needed anything, just a smidge more of lemon or lime.
Yeah.
Like just a touch of acidity. And actually, because I'm kind of a waste not, want not person, as long as this doesn't have any seeds in it, I'm gonna toss it right in there.
Okay.
We're gonna let that essential oil kind of steep out. Next, let's go back and actually test our soup here.
I don't think we seasoned it.
We have not seasoned it yet. I just wanna know what my baseline is because we use that broth, or do we use stock?
Stock.
Stock, broth.
No, broth. We
Okay.
use broth.
So let's explore where that is. Already, it's super rich, delicious. You want to try a spoon?
Yeah.
See where we're at.
You taste the chicken and all the herbs in it.
Yeah.
The lemongrass.
The lemongrass, the ginger kind of jumps out at you. So the last thing we would need for this particular meal, as long as our rice is coming along, we've got 12 minutes left on our sausages. Let's take a good look at these quick. We can see how they're starting to pink up in there. That means that those proteins are cooking. They're starting to set. I'm gonna pop them right back in. Okay, so what is it actually that we're looking for when we say almost there? I'm gonna bring a spoonful out.
Yep. So if you look at the rice, pull it apart, you still get some of the grains that have not turned clear yet. So we still have this like dark, muddy white out here. So once the rice is more clear, it'll be ready and soft. So we have a few of them that are really soft, but half of them are not.
Right. You and I may be the first, we may have pioneered a new term, muddy white.
Yeah.
Like I think as I was washing it and you were talking about the rice kernels, that muddy white. But it's totally true. You can see that there's two different colors on that, right? And what we're looking for is that
Clear, right?
Yeah, almost opacity.
Well, some of them still feel like grain in your hand where you can't squeeze through them, and some of them you can. So then I'm gonna go and try evening it out with some water.
Cool. I'm getting excited.
So if you don't have hot water, what you can do, a quick trick, is similar to steeping, is we're gonna take some water from here, and then we'll steep it with this right above the pot. That way it'll help cook the rice. And then this, you just kind of pour it right above the rice.
These are real, non-Americanized flavors.
Yeah.
But in reality, because they are here and they are viable, you can find these ingredients at your local farmer's market or local farm stand or even your local co-ops. These are as American as it gets. It's like this beautiful amalgamation that we were all taught when we were kids. It's the melting pot of cultures. I think actually that only really exists in the upper Midwest. Quite frankly, as you go into Los Angeles or you go to New York or you go to San Francisco, all those cultures are still so vibrant and big, but separate.
Yes. Yes.
Here we have to kind of coexist because the winters are long and the growing seasons are short, and we've all got to eat. And I think these dishes are a perfect way to kind of get in touch with your neighbors and maybe make a new friend. So, last, I see the fat starting to come up here on this chicken, which is a good sign.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
We know that that's really starting to hit its sweet spot. Let's take apart some of these mustard greens and talk about these for a second, because these are some of my favorites. What do you love about the mustard green, the bitter green?
Okay, so I like bitter because I grew up with it. I think it takes some getting used to for a few people, but I love that it's got a good texture to it, and when you cook it, these leaves actually cook really fast. If you cook it too long, they become too soggy. It's just a hint of bitter. It's not very bitter like a bitter melon.
Right.
There can be like a spicy texture to it, and there's tons of variety of greens and mustard green. This is just one variety of mustard green. There's one that's a little bit lighter and more bitter. But this dim is it's crunchy when it's raw, and you could definitely eat it raw with like la and other dishes. But it's when you cook it, I think it just has this really good consistency in it. And it takes in the flavors, and it goes really good with boiled meats like boiled pork and boiled chicken, and I just love it on top of rice. Yeah.
So good. So what I want to do with this, and you can tell me if your mom would disapprove. I'm gonna take, and I'm actually I'm gonna strip some of these parts off because I want to do a little something different with this. Maybe I have these are the bulky parts. We're gonna give these a nice, basically. I want these to be in that soup.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut them to be bite-sized, and I think that's the important part to remember, right? Something like this, where I can really feel that, and I'm going to drop that right in right now, if that's cool. And then I'm going to take these, and we're going to roll them like this, and I'm going to have you do this.
Yeah.
Can you give me like a chiffonade?
A what nod?
A chiffonade?
Tell me about chiffonade.
Sure, the chiffonade. So what I want thin to win little strips, because when it comes time to plate these beautiful mustard greens into our bowls of soup, I'm gonna put these down first. Okay. And then we're gonna pour that super hot stock over them.
Okay.
And that'll be that.
Just melt them.
Yeah, it'll be that quick cook. How about we do like 2 bunches of the mustard greens? And in the meantime, I'm gonna give the sausages a quick check.
Okay.
They're coming along nicely.
New method here. Ooh.
New method?
For me, hold on.
I'm gonna put it on.
Struggling.
Yeah. So, we have our sticky rice cooking, almost done. I can see the colors becoming more uniform, almost translucent. We have our delicious pot of soup. This still needs to be seasoned. So what I'm gonna come back and do right now, as Bo's taking the...
Failing epically.
You're failing epically? Epic fails with Bo and Luke.
That's all right. I encourage people to fail, so it's fine.
Exactly. You never learn unless you try. What is it that Michael Scott said? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Oh, that's
actually
a good
that
saying.
was Wayne Gretzky, but whatever. I'm gonna take 2 teaspoons of salt in my hand, and if you notice, I actually put it in my hand first because I want to see it. I want to feel it. You know, in a professional kitchen, I love being able to use that kosher salt or that big flake sea salt because I want to feel it in my fingers. I may not have the moment to taste every single bite, but I do know what that feels like in my hand, and it becomes muscle memory, just like so many of these recipes are. Ooh, I like what that mustard green does for this thing. It works that bitter part of our palate a little bit. It gives it another nuance to jump from. But since you and I like salt, I'm gonna go with another 2 teaspoons of salt. So that brings us up to 4 teaspoons, which means I have crossed into the tablespoon threshold. So 1 teaspoon of salt thus far. Look at us mathing it out.
It's good for the people at home who has to be very precise.
Exactly.
I think once people start to make dishes like this, they can start to eyeball everything, figure out what they like, what they want more of, what they want less of.
Okay, we're gonna give it the second taste. Let's see here. You have a spoon? You want to taste this thing?
Yes.
Tell me where I'm at.
Ooh, it's getting there. Yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It could use a tad more salt, but then we are like using the Hmong peppers too to eat it with. So
let's throw just a little bit more on there. I mean, why not?
Okay.
All right, so right now I've got 2 more teaspoons of salt. That takes me to 2 tablespoons all day.
That should be more than enough. Yeah.
More than enough.
How do you feel about the sausages? Should we put them in for another?
Let's broil them for, how about 2 minutes? Okay, we're gonna take and put these beautiful mustard tops right in the bottom. So we have the Hmong sausages. We're gonna let these rest for just a second. Is that cool by you? Okay, should we plate up the soup?
Yeah, we can plate up the soup.
Let's do it. I'm gonna bring this over. I'm gonna take this chicken thigh. Is that cool by you? And we're gonna put that right there. On that bed of mustard greens. Ooh, there's a chunk of that chicken breast too.
Looks good.
Ooh, drumstick. Would you please do the honor of like adding the broth?
It's so rich.
It is rich. I can see that as it floats over the top of those mustard greens that we have laying in the bottom.
It's just cooking them.
It's just cooking them.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna throw a couple pieces of this ginger in there because not so secretly, that's my favorite part. And because we've actually steeped this, allowed it to boil out, it's quite a bit softer. And if you took the risk of trying this, raw as we sliced it, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised at how nuanced and different that flavor really, really is. How's our sticky rice? Ooh, that looks good.
Good, should we plate it?
Sure, let's plate
Okay.
it. That, you see the uniform color? You see that sheen, that luster? It's not Charlie or Martin we're talking about here. This is perfectly done sticky rice. And what we want, there's a little bit of tackiness to it. It smells even just a little sweet. There's internal sugars in here. That's my jam.
So
that's so good.
So back in the days, they would even add coconut water to this. They would just like pour it over while it's steaming.
Yep.
And a day, I meant like my mom and my aunts and people I grew up with.
Yeah. I can still see that there is fat. There's like this delicious juice. And what I want to do is I want to give these just a second more to rest. Because if that fat we can keep in there, like we've won. We've won the Hmong style sausage challenge. And because we let this rest, these aren't spraying that delicious fat all over the place. I'm gonna take and put this right around here. So here comes the chefy part, right? I wanna throw just a little bit of acid on this plate. So we're gonna tuck that up there.
It's nice plating.
Thank you. I think for this one, I want just a little bit of that lemon too, because I really like that acidic counterpoint. We're gonna rest that right on the side of the bowl. Do you wanna use will you have a tagline?
No. What should we say?
I don't know, is it like voila or Shazam? All right, where do you want to go first here, sister?
Ooh, so I want to do a little bit of the rice with the soup.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to lie to kick it with me. It's cool.
Good. It's good. Okay. I'm going to do something that people probably won't do, but I do it.
What's that?
Oh, I just put the meat into my plate. And then I'll dip it in the sauce.
Yeah, okay. I like that. I like your style, B.
Eating my hair. It's good.
Your hair is good?
No. The food is good.
This Pert Plus is delicious. Okay, so we're going to do this. Get it in here. Boom.
I know some people would take the peppers and they'll pour it over.
Over the, yeah, right? That's cracking.
My mom should be here. She'll approve.
Really?
She'll be like, oh, Luke, he's so good at cooking.
So the thing that I taste in this, like you're so sweet. Thank you. If your mom really does say that, I want to make sure that I get it and write it.
Yeah, she'll come and she'll eat all of this. Yeah.
Good. So the thing that I love about this soup specifically, it's rich, it's herbaceous. You get all those comforting flavors of the ginger, the lemongrass, the chicken, a little bit of that lemon accented in the side, and that wonderful bitterness that's associated with those greens.
It's not even bitter.
No, it feels like it's super
like
healthy and delicious.
Of it. Just a hint of it.
And like mad delicious salt.
I'm gonna try the Hmong sausage now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a heavenly bite.
So fatty.
You're talking about the sausage, not me, right?
No. Wasn't even looking.
Yeah.
This is so good. I think Hmong sausage is really easy because you just pop it in the oven and forget about it.
Right. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, when it comes to this, like I'm all about tactile food. I like using my hands. I like being able to kind of pile this on.
And then the broth is good with it too.
Yum. This is like my happy place. I love this. Bo, I'm so honored and like floored to be here with you, to be able to cook food. And
I think we were really lucky to have you this year.
oh man, I am super excited to be here. So thank you so much for this opportunity. For anyone out there, all these ingredients are right around you. They're at your farmer's market. They're at your local grocery store. Even the Hmong sausage, which seems so exotic and out of this world. I know at least 3 places in the general La Crosse area where you can find these sausages, and they're made in Mosinee. So this is not something that you have to search far and wide for. This is the story of us.
Yeah.
And here's to growing forward together. Thanks, Bo.
Sorry, one more thing. You have to say. You have to say.
I'm Luke Zahm.
And I'm Bo, and this has been Cooking with Bo.
I like it. Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Did you just drop an ope?
Kitchen life goals.
Exactly.
Kitchen life goals. There you go.